This is Andy Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by world champion Joe Cordina here in a very hot, a very humid Saudi Arabia. Joe, how are you?
I'm good, and thank you very much, man. It is hot. Today's not as the hottest. Yesterday was absolutely roasting. So, yeah, it's good to be a little bit cooler today.
How have you found, obviously, training out here? We've just had a brief chat
Mm.
there. You've been out here for about 3 weeks now. So how
Yeah,
have you found the difference to what would have been back in what is probably sunny Essex now as well?
yeah. Well, yeah, it's sunny for a couple hours and then starts raining again. But to be honest, it was a blessing for me really coming out. To get used to the heat. I've boxed all around the world and I've landed next day weigh-in for, and it does affect you regardless of whether it's going to be aircon in the arena, which most of the places I boxed all around the world was. But it's the timing, the food, everything. It has an impact. So I needed to get out here, make sure I'm well prepared and got the best chances of coming out victorious. And this is the start. So yeah, all the training is done. All that's left to do now is sharpen up and lose the last bit of weight, and then we're good.
Saudi, a new experience for you, Joe. You've boxed all around the world
Mm.
as an amateur and as a pro.
Mm.
How would you expect it to differentiate? How are you preparing yourself kind of mentally for a different type of fight night?
To be honest, listen, I've experienced some great atmospheres and some shit atmospheres, and uh, Monte Carlo, you ain't gonna get a worse atmosphere than that. So, um, the whole event in Saudi, I think, is gonna be great. I don't know what the atmosphere is going to be like, but it's definitely going to be better than Monte Carlo, which I can assure that and guarantee that. But yeah, listen, it is what it is. It's a fight at the end of the day, and I got to go in and beat whoever's in front of me.
I remember in Monte Carlo there was obviously a lot of talk about what your next step would
Mm.
be beyond the Vasquez fight, and there's all that talk of potentially maybe one, two more at a
Mm.
stretch before you consider that lightweight
Yeah,
move. How have you found cutting down to super featherweight in this camp?
this camp's been quite comfortable, really. And even leading up to um when it was scheduled in February, I was in a good place. So yeah, I didn't leave it as late as I did for the Monte Carlo bill. So yeah, I'm in a good place weight wise. This one's been quite comfortable up till now. Still got a 3-4 days left to drop the last little bit of weight, but it's nothing really what I gotta lose. I look good. Yeah, and to be honest, I don't feel I look drawn. I don't feel like I'm 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 struggling as bad as I was for my last one. I just made a couple of uh, wrong decisions and left it a little bit late, and it showed in my performance. But this one I've done 100% to the letter T.
I know you can't. We'll come on to what could be in the future
Mm.
shortly, but and you don't want to look beyond Saturday. But obviously, one of the big advantages you have as a world champion is that's what can draw other people into
Yeah.
those big fights. Is it something which you do think about when you move up to lightweight? You go without a world title, despite being an unbeaten, technically two-time world champion. You lose that kind of pulling power, if you will.
Yeah and no. Especially with all the boxing being in Saudi at the minute, people are getting paid and they haven't even got world titles. Um, they just want to see the fights. So yeah and no. If it was to be in the UK, maybe. If it was to be in America, maybe. But in Saudi, I don't think it matters.
Talked about Anthony Cacace. He's had a frustrating few years in his career. He's
Mm.
had a number of fights fall through for no fault of his own, and now here he is as your next opponent. How
Mm.
much of his career have you tracked?
Yeah, I've watched him because he boxed a stable mate of mine, Martin Wood, and Martin beat him, got the win there. So I've kept an eye on him, and we was always the same way going through the ranks and whatever. So yeah, he's a good fighter, technically good, good footwork, smart, awkward. He's someone that I can take lightly. I can't go in there thinking this is going to be a walkover because he haven't been in at the top level. Someone's got he's got the grip between his teeth, and he wants to win a world title, but he's in the same position as I am. if we don't win this fight, what's next? Do you get me? My whole thing is secure my family's future, and he's what's in the way for me doing that. So yeah, we're both in the same position.
That was going to be my next question, Joe. Obviously, going into the Vasquez fight again, I asked you the question: how have you stayed motivated for this type of fight, knowing that everybody was talking about what could be next? Anthony Cacace, no disrespect to him, he isn't one of those bigger names that you've been looking for and you've been chasing, but he's a man who, if you weren't to overcome, you do look and then think, what
Yeah,
opportunities are there for me then?
of course. Then it's either there's two ways to look at it. It's either okay, where do we go now? What do we do? Do we call it a day, or do we rebuild at lightweight? And yeah, there's options, but them options don't even come into my head really, because all I think about is winning. There's no losing, there's no drawing. I'm winning. That's it. And then we move forward, and then we go from there. But like I said, my motivation is putting food on that table for my kids, making sure they're well looked after for a long time after I'm gone. So he stopped me from doing that.
How do you beat him and how do you win on Saturday night?
Just be me. It's everything he does good, I do better in every aspect of that his game. So I just think as long as I be the best Joe Cordina, I'll get the win.
Just to touch on the future, Joe, what's been the problem in trying to secure one of those other world champions or the other big names around super feather or even lightweight, if you would have considered it?
You have to ask Eddie that, because that's my promoter. It's not. I've the amount of times I've asked him. But yeah, that's a question. That question for him, not me.
I will obviously ask him as whenever he arrives. I'm not sure. Do you know when he arrives?
He said he was arriving today, but I think Charlie said he was arriving Thursday, maybe. I think Frank arrives today.
Oh, perfect. Well, I'll certainly put you to at least
Yeah.
one of them when I get the chance to. What is the current contractual situation between yourself and Matchroom then? Is there a prolonged promotional deal?
Yeah,
Or
I'm
is
still
this,
in. I'm
yeah.
contract with Matchroom. I'm still with Matchroom. Obviously, I can hopefully continue and finish my career with them. So yeah, it's about keep moving forward, keep winning, and going from there.
When you look at those potential fights out there for you, Joe, is it world champions or is it the big names? Is it maybe the big domestic fights? No, again, Lee Wood's been mentioned, Josh
Yeah.
Warrington's been mentioned. Do those guys kind of appeal to you, or would you rather go on to fight in America against, say, no Shakur Foster?
Well, to be honest, they don't really appeal to me. But if the money's there, yeah, I'd rather fight for titles or big names worldwide. Um, but yeah, as long as the money's there, then it's not a problem.
What's the name you would like the most? Navarrete?
That would be tasty because he's big in America. Um, he's gone for his third weight. Um, yeah, that would be nice. But to be honest, any of them champions, Lamont Roach, Oshaki Foster, yeah, Navarrete, Oscar Valdez, they're the names at Super Feather that appeal. And then you've got the likes of the big boys at lightweight if I was to move up. So yeah, I'm happy to do either or.
I mean, one of those names that you've had somewhat of a social in media interaction with over the last couple of years is Shakur Stevenson. Do you think it's realistic, whilst he's speaking about letting his contract run out with Top Rank as well, a deal could be reached there, you move up?
Yeah, potentially is as if he comes to Matchroom. I seen he put the other day that Eddie Hearns knows promoting, so he said he put a little tweet out. But yeah, that could be done. It could be done, but he's on. Like, I don't want to keep like saying someone's name that it's not. They're not interested. They're trying to go for something else. But if he wants to fight, he says loads of people don't want to fight him. If he wants to fight, I'll fight him. It's not a problem. I'll fight anyone as long as the money's right. It's just that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. Titles and like I haven't got the amount of time that Shakur's got left. I'm a lot older than Shakur, so um, for me now is the main bit is to make as much money as I can. If titles are there, then take the titles as well as the money. But he's concentrating on titles. He wants to make history and whatever. Um, for myself, I've achieved everything I've wanted to achieve, apart from securing my family's future. So when it comes down to it, I'll fight anybody as long as the money's right.
I know you've said you've achieved everything you wanted to achieve, but is it also something kind of on your boxing bucket list, if you will, to headline in America? Because obviously a lot of those big names, they are based on that side
Yeah,
of the world.
yeah, I'd love to do that. I'd love to do a Vegas. I'd love to do a Madison Square Garden, anything like that. But um, like I said, it's quite difficult in getting. I thought it would be quite easy once you won a world title, but it's not as easy as I thought. Um, it's quite difficult to get them in the ring, because they obviously they always want strong money, and some of them overprice themselves. So yeah, it is what it is. I don't know. That's down to the promoters, and to make sure that happens. But yeah, up until now we haven't been able to do that.
One other name I want to put to you for a potential fight, again, don't know if it's something which you've ever crossed your mind. No denying it'd be a hard fight, but he's not a big lightweight.
Yeah.
Just fought this past weekend, Vasiliy Lomachenko.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'd love to fight that. I grew up watching him. And like all my footwork that I was doing, why I was so good in the amateurs, because I was watching what he was doing. So yeah, it'd be a massive opportunity for me. Yeah, I'd love to fight Lomachenko, share the ring with him, be mad. And listen, I wouldn't share the ring and jump in and say, oh yeah, I'm just in with Lomachenko. I'm gonna try and take his chin clean off. But at the same time, he's unbelievable fighter. Um, One of the best fighters to ever do it, and yeah, he'll go down as an all-time great, and he got a great win on the weekend, and yeah, I'd love to share the ring with him.
I know we're obviously speaking about fighting him. I imagine he'll come and support Alexander on the weekend.
Yeah.
But is he the type of guy, especially for those lower weights, who you've just said where you based kind of your footwork off of him when you was in the amateur, someone who you somewhat look up to as well?
Yeah, well, I was in the when I first I was an amateur, and I first went to my first major tournament was the World Championships in Baku. He was there, so I remember we were weighing in and he was sat next to me, and I was a bit in awe of him, obviously, because he'd done what he'd done. And when I first started boxing in 2008, he went to the Olympics, and he was the kiddie. So I was always watching him. So that's mad. Like when I started boxing, he won his first gold medal at the Olympics. So yeah, it was, and I've followed him. I'm a boxing fan, and just because he's here and around about my weight, I'm never gonna ever disrespect him and say, oh, he's this, that, I'll smash him up. And nah, he's an unbelievable fighter. I'm a fan, but at the same time, if I was to fight him, I'd be trying to take his head clean off.
I know it was 6 a.m. the main event in the UK when he fought Kambosos this past weekend, but did you guys catch it at all?
Yeah, we caught it, but I didn't stay up for it.
Casual.
Yeah, we just got up. No, it's not that. It's like
I'm joking. I'm
no.
joking.
Normally I would. Normally I would. I'd get up for stuff like that because I hate getting up.
Knowing the result.
And it's hard to not know the result, because even if you search in YouTube, search in anything, it already says who's winning. So I've half closed my eyes a little bit, opened them so it's blurry, and I've seen the first one. I clicked it, then I've started watching it, and I didn't know who won. So I was watching it, and he just boxed his ears off, didn't he? Just literally, it was so comfortable and easy for him, which I half knew anyway. But yeah, he's an unbelievable fighter.
Moving away from all things Vasiliy Lomachenko, I just want to get your thoughts on the chaos that erupted yesterday. There's a reason why I couldn't interview you yesterday. Obviously, John Fury going on to headbutt a member of Team Usyk. Just what did you make of everything that happened?
To be honest, I didn't see the headbutt. I was in. I was actually doing an interview with. What was I doing an interview?
There's a lot of media there.
Yeah,
so.
I can't remember. I was in a room anyway, doing an interview, and I can hear Usyk, Fury. So they were going back and forth. Everyone started rushing to the door, and then I thought, let me go and have a look. Then I've heard chaos. He must have butted some geezer, Big John, and then it's kicked off. But I was just watching from afar, and I was like, "This is mad." Like you don't see this fight like normal fight week. It's not normal. But yeah, it was a good laugh, and then it sort of calmed down. And once I finished my interview, I walked over and I was trying to entice him. I go, "Get up there, John. Get up." But he was yeah, he was fuming. He was. But the kid got in his personal space, so here's what it is. If someone got into my personal space, I'd probably do the same.
Just on that main event, Joe, which way do you lean? What do you think's going to be the difference?
Listen, Usyk is arguably one of the best technicians in boxing, but a good big guy will always be a good small guy.
Is it as simple as that? Because I've asked this to a few people yesterday, and when people say that, do you think that somewhat detracts from the skill set of, in this case, the smaller guy in Alexander
Yeah,
Usyk?
but you got the skill set is unbelievable on both sides. So if he was just like, for instance, when AJ boxed Usyk,
Yeah.
if AJ would have just steamed into him, which I thought he would have, I reckon AJ would have. Because I had like, if I was a betting man, I would have put my money on AJ to stop him. But I was having like friendly bets with my mates, saying AJ will stop him. He'll just steamroll him. But then he come out trying to box him. Now, when it comes to boxing, you can't outbox unless you're gonna be on even playing fields of boxing ability. Then you've got the size of Fury with the same level of ability boxing wise, and he's so big and so awkward. Then it sort of evens out. Now the stuff that he can get away with other fighters, he's not going to be able to get away with Fury. I just think Fury later down the line potentially could stop him because of the size, leaning on him and stuff like that. But it'll be a very very hard fight for the first six rounds.
Both big talking points, one for either man, has been kind of the body of Alexander Usyk, how he'd react to a body shot, and then for Tyson, the cut. I imagine both men will probably target
Yeah.
both at some point. With the cut itself, how problematic do you think that could be?
I don't think Fury's gonna get close enough for him to for it to be a potential cut, but for the first six anyway. But when he starts getting 6, 7, 8, 9, the weight on him, and I think that'll get to him. Genuine.
Moving away from that, get your thoughts on a couple of fights before we wrap this up. Taylor Catterall 2 next weekend.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on it, Joe?
Oh, do you know what? It's a tricky one. I don't know. I'd say, do you know, if Taylor, when it first got announced, the first fight, I thought Taylor all day. But Jack is a very good fighter. It's a very good fight. But I think Taylor got something to prove now, and yeah, I'd lean towards Taylor, but yeah, I could be wrong.
Deontay Wilder and Zhang the following week, back out here in Saudi.
I reckon same Wilder got something to prove. I think he knocked Zhang Spark out
Do you have a round?
1-6.
And then we go to August 3rd, Crawford and Madrimov. I imagine Madrimov is somebody who you
Yeah.
amateur scene,
Yeah, yeah.
similar times.
Very good fighter, great fighter. Strong, fit, fast, awkward angles, but Crawford's pound for pound, isn't he? For me, he can do it all. Fight, he can punch, he can box, he can switch stance and box evenly as good as either way. So, yeah, I'd have to go towards Crawford on that one.
And then just a final one, Tank Davis, Frank Martin.
Gotta go Tank. Frank's a very good fighter, but I think just his experience at that higher level, them big nights under the lights, I think Tank does him.
Joe, it's a pleasure as always.
Super.
Good luck on Saturday night.
Thank you,
and I'll
man.
see you soon.
Go on, bro.